Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Against the Grain podcast. We are launching season 3. This is the first episode back, and today we have a lot of new faces today. So we're doing testimony introduction like episodes to meet everybody. And this is a really vulnerable like episode because that's what testimonies are, the most impactful part of a Christian's life. So my name is Rahonel, your host, and I'm a senior at Pancras High School. I'm here joined by my friend Mel. Mel, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a sophomore at Ruston High School, and I'm going to share a little bit about how I gave my life to Jesus.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get us started, and it's just like just sharing about how we came to Jesus.
Yes.
A lot of people can just believe in Jesus, but it's really a whole different like ball game to
Yes.
step in and commit and actually follow Him. So for me, I grew up in a Christian household, but I never had a true relationship with Jesus. The most Christian thing I did was pray before bed for like 10 seconds, recite a psalm. But I was just in the world, I was no different from somebody who didn't know Jesus at all. Um, so then it was just through my life, I was just, just not following Him at all, just not being with Him, not doing anything for Him, just like completely disregarding Him, always putting Him off is what I was always doing.
Yeah.
God, I'll get serious with you next week. I'll get serious with you next month, after this, after that. But so it was about like 2 years, almost like 2 years ago, about like New Year's of 2024, like January. So my two like main like gods, like idols, was always the sport I played, basketball, and then just like girls, just like always. That's what I found my identity. That's what I found like my joy, my peace in.
Yeah.
So it was about like December of 2023, January 2024. This all happened in like the same week. I got an injury from basketball, a stress fracture in my back that had been like reoccurring, and then it came back and it took me out for the season. So I was like literally a month into the season, and I already out for the rest of the year. And that already happened my freshman year prior. So it happened again, and that like just threw me off. Also before that, a friendship I had with this girl, we just stopped talking and stopped, and that really hurt me too. Like that, the two gods, like if I lost one of them, I could have clung to the other, and it would have been fine. If I lost the other, I would have clung to the other, but just lost both. Like I feel like God finally, feel like God just, and thank God he did that, because if again, like I would have been fine with one or the other, but taking both of those away, I like felt like I had absolutely nothing. Like it was terrible. Like for that whole month of January, I was like waking up. Waking up was the most dreadful thing to do. Like it was absolutely like, oh my gosh, like so like the hardest thing to do was to get up and like just going through the school day. And at the end of the school day, I felt like so heavy, like just so heavy. Like my heart was heavy, my spirit was heavy. I felt like a huge burden on me. And then as soon as I got home from school, I was the only one home. Everybody else at work, and my sisters, my family, my parents and stuff. So I remember getting in the house, dropping my bag, and then going to my bed and just like laying down on my bed and just bawling my eyes out every day. It's playing worship music, bawling my eyes out. And it's throughout that time, and also up in those mornings, I was getting up at like 5:30 a.m. to read a psalm. It was always a psalm a day for like 5:30 to like 6:30 before school in an hour, because like those mornings were just, I don't know what it was. I would hate to go back to that, but thank God I was there, and how He pulled me through that, because that was for the reading those Psalms. Is like, I need this glimpse of hope, God. I need this to get me through the day. Like without this, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And then that was just always like my refresher. And then I needed, like by the end of the school day, I was heavy. I needed another refresher. I needed to go bawl my eyes out, be honest with Him. I needed Him to be as show up as my comfort, and that's what He showed up as. And I feel like because I was so low back then, because I felt so low, is why my faith is so like firm today, because of that rock that it was built on Him.
Yeah.
When I was that low, and He was the one that built me up, and that is still building me up today. And then just day after day, it was just like, for the first like 8 months, it was just like literally me and Him. I didn't have any Christian friends, no like leaders or community that I could go talk to. It was literally just me and Him, just me reading my Bible, listening to worship music. Like I used to be like looking up sermons, like Instagram reels, like that was like my like
Instagram Reels is where it's at.
I know, right? They got some wisdom on there.
They do.
Yeah. And then it was about, I met Pastor Austin too. Pastor Austin here from ccdelco, the family pastor. In January, it was literally the not Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve service. It was the first time here, and he was preaching his first time. And like he shared his testimony also, and like it was just like so like I just felt really connected to him, like his testimony and like his words and stuff. And I talked to him after, and then we got connected. And he was like the first person at church like I really got connected to because coming to church for like the I started coming here like July of 2023, so like a little over 2 years now. And I had it like I was just coming to church with my family, just coming in with my family, like looking at the clock. When is it gonna be over? When is it gonna be over? Don't want to be here. And then so that was like for the whole year until I met Pastor Alice, and he was the first person I got connected to. And just out throughout those like months, how we like stay connected, stay talking, and then I asked him to baptize me on the last Sizzling Summer in July 31st. And right after that, he got me connected to the youth. The ccdelco youth here, the youth groups. That was around the same time as Sunday, so that was really cool. Um, and yeah, I just finally got connected to you. Finally connected to like the small groups and in community of other Christian,
Yeah.
like people my same age going through the same things as me. So that was a huge boost. Like I felt like
Mhm.
a huge step in my walk, like being surrounded with that
Your
community.
community is so important.
Right. Yeah. Um, and just yeah, it's just since then he's just never let me go and I never let him go. So it's just been beautiful how he's been working. So
Yeah.
yeah. I want to share a little bit about how you came to know Jesus.
Yeah, sure. So in fourth grade, it was like during COVID.
Fourth grade.
I know. I have to like pull this up because
Pull it up.
it was a while ago.
Uh-huh.
Um, I experienced like incredible amounts of anxiety because I would deal with like the most random like daily like stomach pain, and I'd stopped eating like completely. I was so anxious about throwing up and getting sick that I didn't eat because in my mind like eating and throwing up like correlated in some way. And I ended up dropping 15 to 20 pounds totally unintentionally, and I was continuously losing more. And we went to the doctors. Thank God for my parents because I was so young, I didn't know what to do. They were with me the entire time. Um, I was told that my options were limited to like either force feed myself or go on a feeding tube. And I knew that I didn't want to live my life in a hospital. And I'm so grateful that I was able to have an option, but it was really hard to kind of have to navigate that by myself. And me and my parents ended up like refusing the feeding tube because they knew that that wasn't like a lifestyle that would fit me to be able to do that. I was a very active kid, played like 4 different sports. I couldn't sit still. And throughout that whole time, I just had like incredible amounts of anxiety. And as I got healthier, I eventually like got back into the swing of things, started eating again. It took a while, but I got back into things. And as I got healthier, my anxiety went down. But throughout all of that, I was a part of like the Catholic Church, and I didn't believe in God. In like my family, everyone has all their sacraments, so like it kind of felt like I was like obligated to do it. Like I needed to. And I was just doing it. I was like, oh, it's like I looked at it as like a tradition. Like everyone in my family has it, I'll do it too. So that was kind of the way I perceived like my religion. And now looking back at it, like I had such the wrong idea of God. Like he is totally different from what I thought he was. And like fast forward to like August of 2024, I hadn't had it like a single ounce of anxiety until then. And I was staying at a friend's beach house, and at 1 a.m. I just like felt so overwhelmed with anxiety. And I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even like talk. I couldn't get words out. I like felt like paralyzed in my own body, and like I didn't have any control over what was happening. And I called my parents who were staying in Avalon, and they picked me up. We went back to where they were staying, and I just literally laid in between them like helpless. Like I didn't know what was going on. And the night that this happened, I I felt so alone, and I didn't want to like explain to my parents kind of what was happening because anxiety runs in my family, and I felt guilty to have them feel like it was their fault. Like I didn't want to explain to them I was so anxious because I didn't want them to feel like blame because it's not their fault. And I didn't have anyone to talk to. I felt so alone and lost. And I was just, I had nobody to talk to. I didn't want to talk to my friends about it because I didn't want them to feel like they had to carry it too. And it just got really hard. I pushed everyone away. And I ended up coming to ccdelco because my grandmother goes here. She invited me and my mom to come here. And the second I walked in here, like, I felt a weight lifted off me. And when we walked into the sanctuary, and Pastor Bob's first sermon that I ever heard was about anxiety. And like I knew God had a plan for me. Like this is when like I knew like I'm meant to know him and like this is for me. And I got baptized on June 4th, and that was amazing. And ever since then, God's been like pruning my life, really been working with me. I went on my anxiety med in October, and right now I'm working to get off of it because I feel like I'm using it as a crutch, and I want to go full faith, you know? I really do believe that God can heal me fully.
Amen. Yeah, you definitely can. And something you mentioned, not wanting to tell your parents about it. You didn't want them like to carry that weight, your friends and stuff. It's a similar thing I also felt
Yeah.
like during that time when I was really low. Like I didn't want to tell like my mom because I don't want her to worry about me. That's the lie I believe. Like no, I gotta handle this by myself.
It's like it's nobody else's problem. Why should they have to deal with it?
Exactly. But that was just a lie because we're not, like we said, like when I mentioned community, like we need community. I remember
Real.
a verse I always go to, Genesis 2:18. It literally says like it's Adam in the garden, and God is like season like by himself, like it is not. And then he says it's not good for man to be alone. I will make him suitable helper, and that's when he makes Eve for him because we're not. Like if God Himself says we're not meant to be alone, we're made for community.
Yeah.
So who are we to try and do things by ourselves? I think
Yeah.
that's just going off of pride and everything like that. But we need each other to build each other up, to keep each other, to pray for each other because it's really what it's about.
Yeah.
And if you have a verse, right?
I do have a
Like
verse.
a verse, and I have a song of that really meant a lot to me. Every time I like during that time of January, February, every time I listen to it, it was bawling my eyes out every time. It's "Don't You Give Up on Me" by Brandon Lake, and these a couple lyrics that hit me every time. He says, "I'll be your way out. I'll be your way when there's no way out, and I'll be your strength when your strength runs out. And if you walk into the fire, I'll be right there in the flames. I wouldn't have it any other way, 'cause loving you is easy." And then later says, "You ain't see what I've promised. Child, we're just getting started." And every time I was just like clinging to that, like,
Yeah.
God, this for a reason, this for a purpose. You're going to use this. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it was just,
Yeah.
that's where He built my faith and everything.
My verse is 1 Peter 5:10. And after you've suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. It just really makes me think that like our suffering holds so much purpose, and we wouldn't be put through it for no reason.
Right.
Like he's continuously working with us, and it's just amazing to think that like he's not done and he's not gonna be done. Like there's no stopping point until you go to heaven and you meet him.
Yeah. Yeah. That suffering, that like verse mentioned suffering, that reminds me, I always say like, I was trying to say suffering is beautiful because when you're in it, it's not beautiful, but like
Yeah.
suffering like is beautiful. For me, that's what kept me glued to God. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
if I would have had one of the other idols, I would have been fine, but I had nothing I was cling to him with because I was suffering.
Yeah.
And if you take that suffering away, I'm like, oh, okay, God, I don't need you anymore. I'm cool. I'm
Yeah.
cool. But that's the thing that kept me clinging to him. And like going back like to the cross, he suffered. And then because of that, like we're here, because of that we believe in, because of that we're going to heaven, because we have this eternal joy, peace, all because he suffered. It's like suffering is just so like beautiful and just
It makes me think about like, you know, when you do like a really hard workout and in the moment it's like this really sucks. Like I just want to stop. But once you're done, it's like, look how much stronger I just got from that. It's just like you look back in your relationship with God and you're like, I was nowhere near where I am now. And it's just amazing to think about.
yeah. And suffering just like refines. It's like
Yeah.
Like I always go to here's Psalm 66, I'm pretty sure. Psalm 66 verse 10 and 10 to 12. I always go to talks about like the refining thing. So for Psalm 66 verses 10 to 12. For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. You brought us into prison and laid burdens on our backs. You let people ride over our heads. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance. And that's
That
just that
that is
the
so
love like
powerful.
God testing us, Him refining us like silver, Him putting those burdens and putting us in prison. But then He brings us to a place of abundance after that. God testing that, refining, that is just beautiful, and neat, and that's the only reason we're both here.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining us in another episode of Against the Grain podcast, season 3. We have one more episode of testimonies coming back, and thank you guys for being here.